Julian Alvarez recently spoke on his future, and this is what he said. Last season, I was one of the players with the minutes at Manchester City, but in the end, you don't like being left out of important matches. You want to contribute. I'll take my time to think about what I want for myself, and we will see. So clearly, Julian is making a statement, and he's telling Manchester City, the owners, Pep Guardiola, and the rest of the sporting staff that he is not happy with his current situation at Manchester City. He wants more minutes, and he does want to have more prominence in the team. So let's look at his stats and his minutes and what he did with Man City in the last season. If we look at his goals and assists and what he has done in all competitive competitions at River Plate in his last season, he scored 18 goals and provided 6 assists. In the following season, which was in his first season with Man City, he played 49 matches, scored 17 goals and 4 assists. His numbers did decrease just a little, only because he was making that transition to Europe. And then in the next season, which is the season that we have just finished, he has played 54 matches and scored 19 goals and 13 assists. Julian really did upgrade himself in the previous season, right? He has provided so many assists, and the last time he got close to those type of numbers was back in 2021 with River Plate, where he played 46 matches, scored 24 goals and provided 14 assists. He has yet to top that season, but the reason why the 2023-2024 season is so special is because he did it in Europe, and he showcased why he can be a very important player under Pep Guardiola. In the Premier League, he was the third best goal scorer, just under Phil Foden and Erling Haaland. Haaland ended with 27 goals, Foden with 19, and then Julian with 11 goals. In terms of assists, he ended up in third place yet again, right beneath Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. And then when you combine the goals and assists together, yet again, Julian Alvarez ends up in third place with 20 goal contributions in the Premier League, and then Foden and Erling Haaland take up the top 2 positions. Julian Alvarez is no longer just a pure striker. He is somebody that can play as a central attacking midfielder or as a second striker because of his ability to always find the assist. And then moving on towards his minutes, he played 36 matches last season, which puts him in first. No other player did beat him in terms of matches played. Foden comes in second with 35 matches played. When it comes to starts, he's in fourth place with 31 starts. Rodri comes in first with 34, Foden with 33, Anderson with 33 also. And then when it comes to minutes, he ends up in fifth place in all competitive competitions, playing 2,647 minutes. There are 4 players who received more minutes than Julian, and that is Rodri, Foden, Ederson, and Walker. So let me tell you guys, looking at the minutes that he has received and the goals and the assists that he has made, I can understand his frustration. Julian for sure knows how to score and he knows how to bring assists, but Man City and Pep Guardiola fail to make him a key player in the 11. He wants to become a player that plays in every game and plays in every minute, but he knows that he cannot potentially get that because of Erling Haaland and because of Kevin De Bruyne, 2 players who will always be above him. And then when we even look at the games that he has missed or did not start, once again you can understand his frustration. He did play 68 minutes against Arsenal back in October 2023. He played 79 minutes against Chelsea back in December 2023. He played 90 minutes against Liverpool, which was really good, back in November, then played 64 minutes against Chelsea on February this year, and then 69 minutes yet again against Liverpool. And then comes the Champions League matches, which is where I believe the majority of the frustration does come from. He played 11 minutes against Leipzig back on October 2023, 18 minutes against Young Boys, 3 minutes against Real Madrid back in April, and then did not play in the second leg against Real Madrid. And I think that is where Julian Alvarez really said, okay, look, I was already getting my minutes reduced in the Premier League, but for me to only play a total of 3 minutes within both matches against Real Madrid, that must not feel good. I know Julian did tell to himself that he's scoring these goals and providing all of these assists, but only for him to be dropped in a very important match. And I understand, because look at what he did in the World Cup. He can be a big time player when it comes to knockout matches. He did it with Argentina, and he can definitely do it with Man City, and he can also be consistent, which is why he is one of the top goal scorers and top assist players. And you may say, but Kevin, you don't think that was a fluke for him to perform like the way he did in the World Cup? No, I don't think so, because if it was, he would have never put out the numbers that we have seen in the 2023-2024 season. Julian has won every major trophy at the age of 24 years old, and I understand why he is showing the desire to be a focal point of a team, and he wants to embrace new challenges. And I think that his approach right now is very professional. He's not complaining and he's not causing trouble through the season. He's doing this at a time where clubs are allowed to make moves. I think that Julian Alvarez knows that he can start in any Premier League team because of his high potential. Look at how he delivered crucial performances when either Erling Haaland or Kevin De Bruyne were injured. But despite his contributions, he was always often benched when Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland were fit. it. And I'm pretty sure that he was comparing himself to maybe someone like Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer was sold by Man City and he went to Chelsea. He was a very talented player for Man City, but he knew that he was not going to get any minutes at City, and that is why he went to Chelsea. And now he is playing in every game and he's scoring goals, providing assists, and really enjoying himself. And Julian might feel that the squad depth that City do have does limit his growth. He wants to have what Cole Palmer has gone through last season. So to me, he is showing elite mentality. He wants to progress. He is already a world-class player and he only wants to get better. So I understand his frustration. I understand his ambition. And I believe that one of the clubs that can really give him what he wants in terms of minutes and growth, it is FC Barcelona. Now, Barcelona is not the only team that could be interested in the player because Julian has options. He can go to Atletico Madrid, he can go to Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, whatever he does want, he can get. And with his great efforts, great attitude, and good work ethic for a team like Barcelona, I think that they would love to have Julian. There's a reason why we were linked to the player and the player wanted to go to Barcelona back in 2022. But here's going to be the most difficult thing, right? It is going to be his release clause. It was reported back in October 2023, according to Sport, that his release clause is 50 million euros, right? There is supposedly this secret clause in his contract. To be honest, I have a lot of trouble believing that, because if he was really that cheap, like really, right? Like the 50 million euros for Julian, don't you think that we would have already heard about Barcelona maybe going for Julian as an option to reinforce the attack this summer? Because if he was really priced at 50 million euros, I would literally tell you guys right now, like, forget about Dani Olmo. Let's forget that he existed and go for Julian for 50 million euros, because that would be cheaper than Dani Olmo. Now in the transfer market, it says 90 million euros. And let me tell you, if his price is anywhere between 65 to 90 million euros, I would say no, don't go for the player. But for 50, really? If this was true, then yes, he should be a player that Barcelona should go for. Sportingly, it makes a lot of sense. We should make this financial move. But once again, I'm going to go back to what I said before. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is real, because once again, if it was, you don't think that we would have probably heard about a story by then about Julian being eyed by Barcelona? It's hard to believe. But if Joan Laporta sees this player that is financially feasible, then we should go all out for him. He would be a great signing. And then comes the sporting conversation, right? Julian is a player who can play as a second striker in a 4-4-2 formation. I do see him like that, right? He has evolved from just being a pure 9. I think that he can still play as a striker, but his best games do come from him being behind the striker. So if he were to be linked to Barcelona, I don't necessarily believe that he should be a Nico Williams replacement or a plan B, right? Nico Williams needs to be signed no matter what, because it would sound ridiculous for us to say Julian Alvarez is the replacement to Nico when these are two very different players. It makes no sense. We need to reinforce the left wing position no matter what happens, and it needs to be a left winger, not a second striker for a left winger. Julian Alvarez should be the replacement or plan B to Dani Olmo. See, now that would make a lot more sense. Julian Alvarez can play as a 10 or play as a second striker, and I can see Julian playing in the 10 position within a 4-2-3-1 system under Hansi, and then maybe sometimes play as a striker when necessary. So I can see Julian behind Lewandowski, or when Julian is playing as a striker, Pedri is behind Julian Alvarez. I don't see him playing on the wings, because when you have Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, they're immovable. And also imagine the type of pressing that could go on with Julian and Gavi together on the pitch. Gavi in the CDM role, Julian Alvarez as the number 10. They're going to bring so much intensity, so much aggressiveness and passion to the game. Julian is really a Hansi Flick type of player. So if at any moment Julian and Man City come to an agreement this summer where they should part ways, I think that Barcelona and Joan Laporta and Deco should all ask what are the requirements to sign Julian. And if it is truly under 55 million euros, then go for the player. Make it happen. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.